There isn't the 13th floor. Friday the 13th is extremely unlucky. Why is 13 an unlucky number? Here we have a listening practice with an interesting topic about the unlucky number 13. Then there will be some questions to improve your English listening comprehension. The answer sheet and the meaning of unfamiliar words all are at the end of the video. The unlucky number 13. Unlucky 13. Of all the bad luck superstitions, studies show that the number 13 is the best known throughout the world. Many people will avoid traveling or scheduling an important event on the 13th, especially if it is the Friday the 13th, just to be on the safe side. The 13th floor, where is it? Skyscrapers are impressive symbols of what modern science and technology can do. But it is an interesting fact that superstition continues to exist in the midst of these technological achievements. If you go into a skyscraper or just a tall building, look to see if it has a 13th floor. The elevator probably goes from 12 to 14. Or from 12 to 12B and then to 14. The manager of a large luxury apartment building in New York City was asked, why is there no 13th floor in this building? Are people still so superstitious in this day and age? The manager asked, we had a 13th floor originally and nobody wanted to rent an apartment on that floor. We rented all the apartments on the other floors, and finally we changed the 13th floor to 12B, and we rented every apartment within one afternoon. So, to answer your question, yes, I think people may be more superstitious than they want to admit. In France, the house number 13 is not used. And in Italy, the number 13 is not used in the national lottery. All around the world, people stay away from this number. They try to avoid traveling on this day or getting married or undertaking any other important action. If you like the video, hit the like button, please. How this superstition began? It is always very hard to find the origin of a particular superstition, but many experts think that the superstition about the number 13 goes back at least several thousand years and probably much longer. According to Norse mythology, in the pre-Christian era, 12 gods met at a Valhalla for a banquet. At the last minute, Loki, the spirit of evil and turmoil, pushed his way into the banquet uninvited, raising the number of banquet guests from 12 to 13. Loki got into a fight between the other gods, and in the struggle, he killed Balder, the favorite of all the gods. This superstition spread from Scandinavia through Europe and the Middle East, and it was well known by the time Christianity began 2,000 years ago. Many people are familiar with the Last Supper, when Christ and his 12 disciples shared a meal together. Only 24 hours after this meal, Christ was crucified because he was betrayed by Judas, one of his followers, who was at the dinner. From then on, having 13 people to dinner was thought to be a bad omen and an invitation to disaster. Experts in folklore have often compared Judas, the betrayer of Christ, to Loki, to Norse spirit of evil and destruction. The meaning of hard words are at the end of the video. Support for the superstition. In the year 1798, the editors of a British publication called The Gentleman's Magazine published some statistics to show that in one particular year, 1 out of every 13 people died. It is interesting to note that they didn't publish the statistics for other years, where the numbers would have been different. By the same token, people will always remember and talk about disaster that happened on Friday the 13th. But they won't remember and talk about the many good things that have occurred on the same day. This is because we all search for evidence to prove what we already believe. Friday the 13th. 13th is unlucky, but Friday the 13th is even more unlucky. Again, this superstition probably goes back to Norse mythology. Friday is named after Frigga, the goddess of love and fertility. When Norse and Germanic tribes became Christian, they gave up their pagan gods, including the goddess Frigga. She was called a witch and sent away in shame to the top of a mountain. But people believed that Frigga and 11 other witches plus the devil, their special guests, got together every Friday to make plans for evil tricks for the following week. For hundreds of years, Friday was called witches' Sabbath in Scandinavia, and people were careful about what they did on this fateful day. It is interesting to know that children born on Friday the 13th are considered to be lucky rather than unlucky. It is not clear where this superstition came from, but perhaps people thought it was too harsh to call an innocent baby unlucky just because of its birth date and superstitions connected with other numbers. 13 is not the only number to have superstitions connected with it. Shakespeare once said that there's a lot associated with odd numbers, with the exception of 13, of course. The number 3 is considered by many people to be lucky, and there are many proverbs that mention this number. The third time's lucky. If at first you don't succeed, try again. In the 6th century before Christ, the Greek philosopher Pythagoras said that 3 was the perfect number because it was the sign of completeness and fertility. In some languages, the number 3 and the word tree have the same root, and both are ancient signs related to fertility and reproduction. It is said that in most food medicines, 3 ingredients must be mixed together to produce a cure. In folk tales, the numbers 3 and 7 often appear, and they are usually associated with good luck. Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Snow White and the 7 dwarfs, the 3 little pigs. In other forms of literature and the movie, we also find these numbers again and again. In Shakespeare's King Lear, the king has 3 daughters, Goneril and Regan, and 2 older evil daughters, and Cordelia. The youngest, who is the good daughter. In 2 other well-known plays and movies, the 7 Samurai and 7 Brides for 7 brothers, we find the magical number 7. Finally, a 7th child is supposed to have special luck and healing powers, and the 7th child of a 7th child is supposed to be an especially gifted person, a magician or a shaman. The number 3 is important in Christianity in the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, said that the human mind is composed of 3 parts: the idea, the ego, and the superego. Classical mythology uses the number 3 in various symbols. For example, Jupiter holds a bolt of lightning that has 3 forks. Okay, here we have listening comprehension parts. Understanding ideas and vocabulary. Question 1. The main reason owners of a tall building might not have a 13th floor in their building is because A. They are superstitious and believe 13 is an unlucky number. B. The government doesn't allow them to use the number 13 in a building. C. It's bad for business because many people don't want to have an office or apartments on the 13th floor. Question 2. Choose the list that contains only odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, 17, 19. B. 5, 10, 15, 12, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. C. 11, 13, 19, 35, 7, 3, 99, 57, 15, and 3. Question 3. Draw a line from each item on the left to the words on the right. That mean almost the same thing. 1. Frigga. 2. Which is Sabbath. 3. 13. 4. 3. 5. Friday the 13th. And A. Friday. B. Sometimes called the perfect number. C. Even more unlikely than 13. D. Nordic goddess of fertility. E. The most unlikely number. Question 4. Some of these statements are true and some of them are not true. Write true or false in each blank. A. The words 3 and 3 are connected in some languages. B. Friday the 13th is considered unlucky. C. Children born on Friday the 13th are supposed to be unlucky. D. Luck is a Nordic god of fertility and good luck. E. Even numbers are supposed to be luckier than odd numbers. And question 5, the last question, cross out the word that is not like the other two words. You may look up words in the glossary or in your dictionary. A. 3, 7, 13. B. Pleasant, harsh, severe. C. Fate, destiny, fatal. D. Growth, disaster, destruction. E. Unusual, unusual ability, gifted, and capable. Okay, here I have a question. Truly, do you believe in the superstition of number 13? Tell me in the comments. Okay, here we have the meaning of hard words. The first word midst at the same time as undertake. It means to begin, evil. A hostile force, the opposite of good. Turmoil, having problems and confusion. Struggle, a difficult situation. Betray, to be disloyal or unfaithful to someone. Crucify, to put to death on a cross. The phrase, by the same token, similarly. Pagan, one who believes in a permissive religion or none at all. Hush, very strong. Innocent, just responsible for a crime. The word ingredients, one of the parts of a picture. Shaman, a medicine man or magician. And the last word, Trinity, in Christianity consisting of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Okay, here we have the answers. Answer sheet. 1 is C. 2 is C. 3. 1 is D. 2 is A. 3 is E. 4 is B. And 5 is C. Question 4, A is true, B is true, C is false, D is false, and E is false. The last question, question 5, A is 13, B is pleasant, C is fatal, D growth, and E unusual ability. Thanks for watching this video.